Okay, welcome back. This is our second lesson for this unit. We're going to start by having you pause the video and completing each one of these problems. So here, if you just use a calculator, I'm going to do 420 divided by 18, and I get 23.3 repeating, but rounded to the nearest tenth is just going to be 23.3. When I do 73 divided by 21, I get 3.47. But once again, we're rounding to the nearest tenth. So here we'd want to have just 3.5. 380 divided by 16 gives us 23.75, which is going to round to 23.8. And then 430 divided by 18 gives us 23.88, or rounded to the nearest tenth, 23.9. For today's lesson, we're going to learn to work with rates and ratios. Now, we've been working with ratios. The difference between a ratio and a rate is that a rate is a comparison of two quantities that have different units. So a ratio would be just saying like 90 to 3. So it might be like shaded to unshaded regions. A rate would be something like 90 miles per 3 hours. And it makes it a rate because we have the different units, miles and hours. When we talk about rates, we also have to talk about what are called unit rates. And unit rates are rates in which the second quantity is always 1. So in other words, the denominator is 1. So you're finding out how much it is per one thing. So per item, per hour, per minute. So here the ratio 90 over 3 can be simplified by dividing. So 90 divided by 3 would give us 30. So our unit rate, if we're talking miles per hour, would be 30 miles per hour. Now let's look at another example. So if Jeff can type 30 words in half a minute, we want to know how many words he can type in 1 minute. So here, because it's half a minute, I could actually multiply both of these by 2 to get our denominator to equal 1. So he is able to type 60 words per 1 minute. And it's that unit rate because we have a 1 in the denominator. Alright, so now it's your turn. Why don't you see if you can figure out Penelope's speed that she can type. So she's typing 90 words in 2 minutes. So here, if we did 90 divided by 2, we're going to get 45 words per 1 minute. And this can work for almost anything. So here, 5 cubic meters of copper has a mass of 44,800 kilograms. What's the density? We're just going to take the kilograms divided by its how much space it takes up, which is the 5 cubic meters. So if I take the 44,800 and I divide it by 5, I'm going to get 8,960 kilograms per cubic meter. So now it's your turn. Why don't you try and find the density of gold? So here, once again, because we have that fraction or that decimal, you could still divide it on a calculator, or you could multiply it by 2 because that's going to be that same idea. And in this case, we're going to end up with 19,300 kilograms per cubic meter. So here's another example for you to look at. So here, why don't you pause the video and try this one out on your own. We have 18,128 kilograms for 4 cubic meters. So I'm going to go ahead and divide that. So 18,128 divided by 4, we get 4,532 kilograms per cubic meter. Now really where we use unit rates a lot is talking about unit price. A unit price is a unit rate that is used to compare the price per item. So let's look at what that actually means. So here, pens can be purchased in a 5-pack for $1.95 or a 15-pack for $6.20. we want to know which is the better buy. So we're going to look at what are you paying for the price per pen. So we're going to compare $1.95 for 5 pens to $6.20 for 15. So we're simply going to simplify both of these to a unit rate. So $1.95 divided by 5 gives us 39 cents per pen, and then $6.20 divided by 15 gives us 41 cents per pen. And a lot of times what happens is people assume that the bigger the pack, the better buy, but in this case, the 5-pack is actually the better buy. So now it's your turn. Why don't you go ahead and pause the video and try and figure out which peanut butter jar is the better buy. So here we have $2.19 for 15 ounces compared to $2.78 for 20. So if I do $2.19 divided by 15, I end up with 14.6 cents per ounce, or 0.146. If I do $2.78 divided by 20, I'm going to get 0.139. So in this case, the bigger jar is the better buy.